Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. We're live Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern on Talk4TV, W4WN.com, and my YouTube channel. And I'd like to welcome you all. Today, we are going to be talking about the steps to an inspired and empowered life by becoming the authentic you. We'll continue where we left off last week. Learn how to discover who you really are, what you feel, what you need, what you want, and then be able to express that to others in healthy, appropriate ways. When you are living authentically, you can create healthier and more joyful, loving relationships with others to create your inspired and empowered life. Together, let's create a life you love. I'm your host, Nancy Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive breakthrough expert. And I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform people's lives. And the show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. So continuing where we left off, when I'm talking about authentic, I'm talking about the real you, the you that is meant to shine through. And everyone has that real you underneath all the fears and the doubts and all the things that keep you from allowing yourself to shine your light. And learning how to be the authentic you means that you have the courage to be you no matter what. And that you're you, no matter what anyone thinks or says or does, you allow yourself to be you and let the you shine through. But most of us learned it wasn't okay to be ourselves. Many of you learned that you had to shut certain parts of you down, or that certain things were okay and certain other things were fine. If they were fine, that was great. And there were other parts of you that were like not okay. And so this is allowing yourself to shine your light and your personality so that you're being you, completely you. And I also want you to know that this is a journey. This is a journey. It's not a destination. We are all on the journey of becoming more of the authentic, real self that we are underneath, that pure energy essence of light and love. And I know hi Misty, I know we have a question from you. So I love the questions, so keep them coming. And Misty says, how can we find the real you? So the real you is a process of becoming and unfolding. And so I actually last week, remember, as I was doing the show, all of a sudden I got a hit that I needed to create scales of consciousness. And I have created them for you. So, Misty, we're going to talk about that, like the process. The scales of consciousness is the process of becoming the real you. And I also want to address a couple of the questions from last week, which also, so someone asked, I think I have people have a problem finding where to start. So we're going to talk about where to start. Also, as I talk about the scales of consciousness. And the next question was, how many layers do we have to get through to get to the clearing stage of the process? So that also is going to be addressed in the scales of consciousness, because clearing is one of those stages. And I'll talk more about that very shortly. First thing I want to just talk about, if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome. Always love to have you come back, return, ask questions, and be a part of the show, whether you're listening now or viewing now or at a later time. So, the first thing that I want to talk about are the three minds, because I'm going to be talking about them throughout the show. The first mind is the conscious mind. Your conscious mind is you tuning into this show. Thank you, conscious mind of yours. And really making a choice. I want to have a more inspired and empowered life. That's you making an empowered decision. So, your conscious mind is really an important part of you empowering yourself. Now, your subconscious mind is the part of you that, from the moment you were conceived to present time, has recorded every moment that you've been alive. So, you have lots of good stuff in there, a lot of good memories and moments, and you also have limiting beliefs and emotions that need to be cleared. And that part of you needs to be, we need to understand and connect with that part so that we can work on the clearing, the healing, because those pieces and our subconscious, and I see we have Allie in the house. Good morning, Allie. And those parts and pieces are the places that we need to pay attention to so that we can move forward in our lives. And the subconscious includes behaviors, repeating patterns. It includes self-sabotaging behaviors. In your subconscious mind are also ancestral information and past life information. So all of that is in your subconscious mind. Now, the next part that I'm going to be talking about is your superconscious mind. And your superconscious mind, those parts of you which are higher aspects of you, which is your higher self, and everyone has a higher self. Okay, so just reminding you, you have a higher self. And it's this wise, unconditionally loving part of you there for the asking. And then there is your soul. And your soul is the pure, Misty, you asked about what's the real you. The real you, and I know you want to know how to get to the real you, and we'll go deeper into that. The real you is your higher self and your soul. And that is who you're becoming. That is what you want to move towards. So how do you know when you feel like you're more in your higher self or your soul? You can feel the changes in you. You start feeling more peace, or you're feeling more joy. You're feeling more fulfilled. Remember, we talked about fun. The last few shows, we were talking about fun. You allow more fun in your life. And when you have embodied your soul, you are your higher self. And it is that enlightened part of you. And that's where you're going. That's what you're moving towards in order for you to feel more consistently having that inspired and empowered life. So, and I know another question came in. Rebel, you can post that question. How can we stop this sabotaging behavior if it's in the subconscious? So, the sabotaging behavior, that's why it's so important to connect with your subconscious mind to understand the causes of those sabotaging behaviors. So, what and I'm going to get to the scales of consciousness. I think that it's time for me to talk about them because a lot of the questions are about that can hopefully be answered. And of course, if you have any questions about anything that I'm saying, keep asking the questions. It's really important. Like my heart really wants you to understand what I'm talking about. And I always want to answer your questions so that you can be able to uh, go deeper into and move forward in your life. So, I talked about the scales of consciousness. And last week I mentioned that most of us have learned that's why it's hard to have fun. That's why we have a hard time feeling peace or joy or love, because most of us grew up in families where they were at survival. Now, survival doesn't only mean, okay, like basic needs, if your basic needs like food, shelter, and water are not being met, you actually may not even be in survival mode. You may be beneath that. I didn't even put that into the scale of consciousness. But the first step is surviving and being able to meet your basic needs. Okay. So that is the first thing. And you cannot even move forward if you're not in survival. And I know when I first graduated with my master's in social work, my first job was working in a place where there were a lot of people in that survival level. And I had wanted to change the lives of these kids and make a difference. But what was happening was they couldn't really even allow themselves to explore anything until their basic needs were met. And so that's really important. So the first thing is survival and basic needs. Now, the next place, the next thing that happens is an awareness that that life can be beyond survival. Now, those of you who are viewing or listening to the show, you may be at that place. The fact that you tuned in, you want more than just survival. Now, you may still be in survival, but what's happening is as I'm talking to you, as I'm sharing information with you, you're starting to have an awareness that life can be more, that you can have an inspired and empowered life, and you can move towards that life. So, awareness, and I've talked about this in different ways and different levels, is crucial because you can't change what you're not aware of. So, you need to be aware that there is life beyond survival and that it is possible for you to move into those next levels and stages. And I want you all to know that it is possible, that every single one of you can do this, and that it is a journey and a process, just like I said before. And I want to acknowledge you for being here because you're on the journey. So, the next stage is all about being a conscious clearer. Now, somebody asked, what do you do with, how do you clear? What was the question? How do you get to the different layers, the clearing stage? So the clearing stage is a very important part of the process. Now, one of you asked about it's something about the self-sabotaging behaviors are in the subconscious mind. So the first step to the clearing stage, or the first aspect to the clearing stage, is discovering what are the things that you need to clear. What are those patterns and behaviors, those self-sabotaging patterns and behaviors? Now, some of you may know what they are, and some of you may not. So learning to discover what they are is the first part. Okay, I will get to that question shortly. So then you want to be able to be, then once you discover what it is, then you can start doing the clearing. And clearing means you're clearing your energy. Some of you may use, I've talked about the morning pages. Julia Cameron wrote a book, The Artist's Way, and she talked about the morning pages and doing 3 pages of just clearing your energy, just whatever, brain dump, just allowing whatever needs to come out to just be expressed, and just allowing yourself to express it. And just write, letting it out. Some of you may want to do meditation. Some of you may want to do more than one. You can do several. Some of you may want to do prayer or exercise or yoga. All of these are tools. And then there's EFT, which is the tapping. Those are all tools for clearing and clearing the issues and the energy. And then, of course, there's hypnosis. And when I'm taking clients through hypnosis and journeys, and just to give you a heads up, I'm going to be talking about it more, but I'll be doing a workshop in the beginning of October on using hypnosis to help you clear unhealthy patterns. So stay tuned for more information about that. And so one of the questions was, how do you discover those self-sabotaging patterns? So one of those ways, you can do writing. You can work with someone and do hypnosis, or you can even do self-hypnosis. And you can ask the questions. And if we have time, I'll start giving you some questions, but I want to make sure I get through the scales of consciousness first and answer as many questions from this week as I can. And of course, anything that I don't get to, I can always get to next week. So being that conscious clearer is a really important part of the steps to the scales of consciousness and becoming, because where you are as you go from the survival to where you want to be is embodying your higher self and your soul. And all these steps, all these different layers and levels are part of that process. And again, I'm going to remind you, it is a journey, not a destination, because most of us are in the journey. And just know that the fact that you're on the show, that you're listening, you're viewing, you're asking questions, or you're intently listening, means you're on the journey. So congratulations. I want to acknowledge you for that. The next, okay, so I'll get to Misty's question now. Okay. So Misty asks, how much is stored in the subconscious? Okay. So okay, I will get to that. First, I have to do one at a time, one question at a time. So the subconscious mind is vast. Okay. I'm going to give you a visual. So you have your conscious mind. Imagine an iceberg. And above the surface is the top of the iceberg. And then below the surface is this vast mountain of ice. And your subconscious mind is that vast mountain. And I'm also going to say that the subconscious and the superconscious mind are intermingled. I separate out the minds to describe it, to make it clearer, but all those three minds are really states of consciousness, and they're all connected. So your subconscious mind is actually really vast. And and so I just know that it's I don't know if we even get through this life and tap everything that's in our subconscious mind. I don't even know if that's even possible, being a human being on this planet. So just know that there's lots of information in that subconscious mind of yours. And it's okay that you don't know all that information. You cannot know that all that information. If you knew, the reason why we have these different parts is your subconscious mind is actually there to protect you. You cannot, if you were aware of everything that was in your subconscious mind, you couldn't function in this reality. You couldn't function in on this planet. And so it is a protection and a safety mechanism to have your subconscious mind, and learning to know what's going on in your subconscious mind little by little is part of the journey. So hopefully I answered your question, Misty. If you have any other questions, let me know. Okay. So what was the next question? How can we be more aware? So the first thing that I want to support you all in doing, because like I said, awareness is really important. Like I said, congratulations on coming to the show and listening and viewing and asking questions, because already you're starting to become more aware. Now, how do you become even more aware? It's becoming present. When you start becoming present to what's going on in present time, I call it being grounded, centered, and present. And being grounded, centered, and present helps you become more aware. Because when you are in that state of groundedness, presence, centered, you're aware of what's going on. You're aware of your body, or you become aware of what you're thinking. You become aware of what you're feeling. Now, that is different than your thinking. I call it thinking mode. So if you're in mind chatter, and you're in that spinning, I call it spinning, where you're in your head, perhaps you have obsessive thoughts, or you can't stop thinking, then you're not in present time, and it's hard for you to be aware. And so the first thing is to be able to become aware and to become more present, so that you can then be more aware to start changing your life. And I actually have a meditation that can help you to clear your energy, to help you become more conscious, more present, to help you come into more awareness. And it's inspired and empowered living.com/meditation, meditation. It's the name of the show, inspired and empowered living.com/meditation. And Rebel, can you put it in the links in the chat, and in on the different pages? And so Rebel's going to put those links in, and this meditation can help you become more present, more centered, more aware, so that you can start changing your life. Because like I said, you can't make changes if you're not aware. And when you're more grounded and present, then you can then start shifting it. I saw the question. You can post the question again. The question is, Misty asks, why is all the information there if we can't use it? So you can. The information there is for you to access when you are ready. And you can use it. And so, but here's the thing. This is what I was saying before. The subconscious mind is there to protect you so that you don't get so overwhelmed. And listen, even with all that, we still get overwhelmed. I mean, the way life is, it's hectic and busy, and it's learning to calm yourself down, whether through meditation or journaling. And the information is there for the asking. You can access it and you can use it. Like I said, if you were to have all the information all at once, you wouldn't be able to function on this planet. And so your subconscious mind was developed. So just know that it's part of what you want to be in the process of. So Misty said, you said it was so vast, we can't know everything that is in it in this lifetime. Okay. So like I said, it's a journey. It's a journey of becoming more conscious, more aware, and more connected. And yes, it is so vast, but know that it's part of the journey of being a human being. I really feel that we came to this planet, like planet Earth is our school. Imagine some of you are in nurses. There are some people in nursery school, preschool. They're just beginning. Most of you are probably in elementary school. Maybe some of you are in middle school. Some of you are in high school. Some of you are in college. But some are in grad school. We are in school, Earth school. And so it's being able to keep letting the journey unfold, letting you understanding and evolving and being able to know more and more about what is in our subconscious mind, and then be able to integrate it. So the next state of the scale of consciousness, okay, is The last one I talked about so far, we have survival, we have awareness beyond survival, being a conscious clearer. And the next one is not only being a conscious clearer, but starting to make that connection to your higher self and your soul. And starting as you start connecting with those more consciously. Okay, so it's being a conscious connector. See, all of this is states of conscious. So you asking to experience your higher self, to be your higher self, to become more of your higher self. And the way that you know that you are is you start to feel more inspired and empowered, or you start to feel more peace or love or joy or gratitude or fun. That's how you know that you are starting to connect more. So you may have more and more moments of that connection. Now, remember, this is a process. So even if you have a moment and then it's fleeting, you having that moment is the beginning. It's the beginning. And I know I see a question come in. Just wait 1 second. It's the beginning. Even those moments are the beginning of you being able to experience more of who you are and know that that is really powerful. When you become aware that you're feeling relaxed, when you're feeling peaceful, you start to have more of those moments. So, okay, let's go to the question. Once you reach the higher self, do you stay there or is there backsliding? Okay, so just to let you know, there is backsliding. I call the journey of healing. I want you to imagine, you can imagine that let's say that state of consciousness where you want to be is the top of the mountain. And you're 10 steps forward and you may go 9 steps back. And then you have 10 steps forward and you may go 3 steps back, 10 steps forward, 4 steps back. And it's a jagged line, of going up and backsliding, back up but that's why it's a journey. It's a journey. It's not a straight line up the mountain. And know that there's going to be backsliding. It's part of being in the human body and having that human experience. And so there's nothing wrong, no matter where you are on the state and the scale of consciousness. I want you to know I'm giving you the scale to help you kind of assess where you're at and where the next level or step you want to go to is. And so having those moments of connecting with your higher self and those moments of feeling yourself more embodied is part of the journey. Then the next step is you're having more and more moments of higher vibrations of the peace, the love, the joy, the gratitude. And those moments every time, and they build on each other when you start practicing. Because here's the thing, you want to practice being in those states. And if you feel like you don't know how to get there, you need to find a way to clear. And you can find different ways. Like I said before, there's meditation, there's journaling, there's yoga, EFT, exercise. There's all these different tools for clearing. And so if you feel like you're backsliding, that's when you take out your tools for clearing, hypnosis, all of those are powerful tools to help you, to keep you moving forward. And more moments of peace or joy or love, gratitude. Know that you're starting more and more to feel, to sense, to be your higher self. And then what starts happening is you start becoming more and more of the conscious manifester. Like you go through the process of consciously manifesting, and you're in that state of manifestation. Now here's the thing, we are all manifestors. Every single one of us on this planet is a creator. We're all constantly creating, but most of the time we're creating from the subconscious mind. And that's why you have situations where you are in those self-sabotaging patterns or behaviors that you don't want, or you're not feeling, you're feeling the fear, the anger, the grief, the shame, the guilt. Those states are there for the clearing. And so when you go into the higher levels and you start manifesting, and your vibration, you're able to stay in more peace and love, joy and gratitude, you start really allowing yourself to manifest more easily, more quickly, if it's for your highest and greatest good. Again, sometimes you manifest and then you're like, oh, why did I manifest this? And it's a learning opportunity. And then you can go back and start looking at what you really want to manifest. What is it that you really want? What is it that feels really good to you to have in your inspired and empowered life? So that's part of the journey. And then what happens as you become more able to embody or to experience yourself more consciously, as you experience yourself more consciously as the conscious manifester, the conscious creator, and you start to embody more moments and times of the peace, the love, the joy, the gratitude, you start embodying more and more. And the final state is that state of enlightenment where you have fully embodied being the creator, the sourceness, your soul, so that you can then become who you were always meant to be. And again, no, this is a journey. It's a process. And that you're in the journey. Even being here, I just again want to thank you and acknowledge you for being here, for asking questions, for being in the journey. And that's what's most important, is you being in the journey. That's the most important thing. So I said that I would start asking a few questions. So let's see. Okay, so this, and Misty, this is, or whoever asked about how do you connect, or how do you know what's in your subconscious mind? Doing sentence completions is another way to access what's going on in your subconscious mind. So I want you all to write this down. A step I can take to be more authentic is. A step I can take to be more authentic is. And what I want you to do is I want you to breathe and don't think about this. Just let it flow. Just write. And you can, if you're driving, obviously you're not going to be able to do this. You can always come back to the recording. Be in the energy of the flow. Breathe, ground, and be in the flow of it. Allowing yourself to be in that flow energy. A step I can take to be more authentic is. And then what you want to do as you're in the flow and you're just writing or letting the first things come, you may get paragraphs, you may get sentences, you may get words. All of it is fine. And you may want to take this and do this again at a later time. And then what keeps me from being authentic is. What keeps me from being authentic is, and this is in your subconscious mind, the answer. And just breathe and allow that energy to flow. Breathe and allow. That's right. Can you describe what you mean by flow energy? Okay, so what I mean by flow energy is when you're feeling relaxed, when you're feeling those states of peace or love or joy, or fun or excitement, you're in that energy of flow. It just, and what happens when you're in energy of flow, that's when the magic and the miracles happen, the synchronicities of life. Like you start becoming more aware of all those exciting things, or you start allowing more miracles to happen. And life becomes more fun. That is part of how life becomes more fun, is this energy of flow. You're in sync. You're feeling your energy moving and flowing. You're feeling inspired and empowered. And a lot of times what happens is when you're in the flow, you feel that state of inspiration. You're inspired. You're inspired to take action. You're inspired to move forward. You're inspired with all these different things. That's the energy of flow. So hopefully I helped answer that question for you. If I didn't, then please ask the question if there's another piece or part to help you to understand that state of flow. You feel that energy, you feel the energy moving through your body. You're more present, you're grounded, centered, inspired and empowered. That's inspired and empowered living. So we did a lot today. We talked about the scales of consciousness. And then we talked about the different minds and what's going on in those minds of yours, and how to clear your energy. Clearing is an important piece to help you get where you want to go. And next week, we can do, we'll continue this, or we'll go deeper into some other questions that you had to help make it even clearer for you what I mean by the state of flow, or being in grounded presence, awareness, so that you can have an experience of it. And we'll talk more about how to continue to create your inspired and empowered life. And I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. And Really, and thank you for your questions. Really grateful to all of you. I just want you to know that. Thank you. And I really look forward to seeing you all next week. We're live Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. And I wish you all an inspired and empowered day and an inspired and empowered life. Well, I wish that for you and an inspired and empowered week. I want you all to have an inspired and empowered life. That's the goal of the show, is to help moving you towards your inspired and empowered life. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.